Democracy has been misunderstood, misinterpreted in nearly all the countries all over the world, and especially in Africa. And today on TFA Talking Point, I'm going to talk about democracy. And then I'm going to explain detailedly about it. Democracy is a very good term and a very good system of government. But not just one person all over the world is willing to apply democracy fully in his or her country. All the world leaders, especially in Africa, have made democracy to become a demonstrated failure. And many of us, the common people, don't want democracy any longer. Not that democracy is not a good form of government. Democracy came as the best way to govern the people because the power is for the people, is from the people. But the wickedness of human heart has changed and divided democracy in different kinds. Where there is good democracies on pieces of paper and the evil, the wicked and the terrible democracy in real life, in realities. And all the governments, especially in Africa, decided to choose the worst kind of democracy, the terrible kind of democracy, the wicked kinds of democracy. And that is why they are using against their own people. And the Western world, the developed countries, it then took advantage of that misinterpretation to gain and to exploit, to manipulate, and to marginalize this innocent group of people. And today I'm going to talk about democracy. Therefore, at this particular period, democracy is not for Africa. Because there is nobody that is willing to implement democracy in any country in Africa. And that is what I'm saying, democracy is not for Africa at this particular period. Because those who can implement democracies in Africa, they have no power. And those who have power have no heart, no zeal, and no kindness for democracy to implement democracy. So the only way out is for the people to be happy. And Africans are willing to take any means for the common man to have a voice, including military coup d'etat. And if military coup d'etat can give to us the power to govern, to influence the government, to have to say something, to be free, then military coup d'etat will be our own government, will be our own kind of democracy. Let me talk about democracy. This period I'm talking about democracy, especially in Africa. Democracy is government by the people. I'm asking you, United Nations, to look through Africa, all the 54 countries in Africa, or 55, or even 56, because there are some countries in Africa that are not recognized, but they have president, they have people governing them. Look at all those territories and the government they have, and ask yourself sincerely in your heart whether they are practicing democracy in those countries. Take Cameroon as a case study. Take Nigeria as a case study. Take Gabon as a case study. Take Equatorial Guinea as a case study. Take many, nearly all as a case study. And you will look critically into it whether there is any democracy in Africa. These are dictators all over. President Paul Biya has been in power for 41 years. The president of Equatorial Guinea has been in power for 42 years. Is that democracy? Is it democracy in Africa where the president can individually, independently change the constitution in his favor? Is that democracy? When they are doing it, you remain quiet because you yourself, you are in the system. The Western country remain quiet. We know why they remain quiet, because they are the one behind them, because they want to be manipulating them in order to exploit our resources. Democracy is government by the people, Are the people in Africa governing their own country? No. Majority are suffering. And today, for more than 60 years today, since we got independence from the colonial master, Africans remain beggars. Begging from one place to another, from one country to another. Even the president themselves are begging. Just look, for example, President Paul Biya went to Russia just of recent. What he was saying when people were fighting and saying statements that can liberate them. President Paul Biya was pleading with Putin that go and beg the International Monetary Fund to help us, to facilitate our means of borrowing money. Look at CNS today. When they want to talk about Africans, they show to us suffering people. They show to us people in misery. They show to us people who do not have food to eat. Is that democracy? If the people truly were governing their own country, will you govern yourself to a point where you deny yourself food? You will allow yourself to be miserable? Democracy is a government run by the people. If the people were the one running the government in their various countries, will there be suffering? And will they stand to deny all those government, deny the government again? Will they allow their resources to be taken away at their own detriment? No. If we say democracy is a society in which the civilian, the common people are sovereign and control the government, will they be afraid of the government again? Because in Africa, the common people are afraid of the government. Instead for the government to be afraid of the common people are the one afraid of the government. Is that democracy? They cannot control the government. Anything they stand to say against the government, they will be arrested and imprisoned. And you, the United Nations, you remain quiet. And then when they will stand up, somebody will stand up to talk, to fight on their behalf. You will condemn them. That is military coup d'etat. Look at Niger. Is there anybody supporting Mohamed Bazoum? Look at in Mali. Was there anybody there supporting the elected president? In Burkina Faso, was there anybody there supporting the elected president, democratic president? No. All the common people came out in support of the military. That is to you, is that democracy? Is that democracy? Why should we keep on preaching something else and practicing something else? Hypocrisy has become part of our own lives. And because you are gaining a lot from this corrupt government, a democratic government in Africa, you are now supporting them, that they are democratic government. You are supporting them, that they are democratic government. Democracy is a government where people are entitled to influence important decisions that affect their lives. But in Africa, we cannot. In Africa, we cannot influence the aspect of lives, important things, decisions that government want to take that will affect our life. We have nothing to say. They don't even give us anything. Not to talk of we will take what they will give us. They don't give us anything. Nothing. What we have, they destroy them. They poison it. When they discover that there is huge sum of money with the World Health Organization, they will come out and drop something in drinkable water, and all Cameroonians all Africans will be crying of cholera and other waterborne disease. And the United World Health Organization will send money to them, and they will embezzle the money, and the common people will die. When they will hear that United Nations Organization or any other organization is supporting a road accident, a country that are highly affected with road accident, they will cause a road accident, and they will allow all the road to spoil in order for them to gain from it. Is that democracy? Is that democracy? They allow us uneducated because they know that there are organizations supporting illiteracy in the world, supporting literacy. And they allow us uneducated so that they will send money for them to embezzle. Is that democracy? Democracy is the government of the people. Look through Cameroon, look through Africa. I keep on calling Cameroon because I'm from Cameroon. And I'm feeling a lot of pain within me. Whenever I look, I call that name Cameroon. And then I see President Paul Biya as the president of the country. I have zero pain within me, in my heart. That if there is an opportunity for me to take Biya out of that presidency, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Democracy is the government of the people. The government in Africa are not for the people. They are for themselves. That is why they can embezzle billions at the detriment of the common people. That is why people are not fortunate, are not opportune to go to school. They are there frustrated. They care less about it. That is why people are dying. They care less about it. Democracy is the government by the people. This is even terrible. By which people? You try to go closer to the government. Human beings are afraid of lions. But I'm telling you that Africans are not afraid of lions. They wish to go into the wild, into the jungle, and move face to face with lions. But they are afraid of the government. Democracy is government for the people. This is very funny. Government for the people. There is no government in Africa that is truly for the people. They are for themselves. They fight for themselves. They have private jet. They build companies out of Cameroon, out of Africa. They embezzle the billions and send it to Switzerland. And the United Nations is protecting those stolen money. They are collaborating with Western countries, with China, with Russia, to steal all resources from Africa at the detriment of the common people. There is no democracy in Africa. And democracy in Africa is a demonstrated failure. And we have to bring in our own kind of government. It might be a new kind of government that does not have a name. Our own kind of government might be a military kind of government in which we will be happy to do it. Any kind of government that can put food on my table is the government I'm going to support. Any kind of government that will give me the freedom of speech, the freedom of movement, freedom of association, freedom of speech, that is the kind of government I will be for. Be it military, be a rebel group, be it whatsoever, I will be for, and Africans will be for. And that is why they are supporting military coup d'etat. That is why they are supporting it. And you should not intervene. You should not interfere in our affair, because we don't interfere in your own affair. A word to a wise is sufficient, but a whole paragraph to a fool is never enough. Don't be a fool, because if you fall into our trap, we are going to trap you and trap you and trap you until you die. France, if you fall into our trap, we are going to trap you and trap you until you will fall. United Nations Organization, if you fall into our trap, we will trap you and trap you and trap you until you collapse. ECOWAS, if you fall into our trap, we will trap you and trap you until you are destroyed. President Paul Biya of my country, we are monitoring you. And any mistake, if military will not take over, civilian will take over. We will organize the first civilian coup d'etat in Cameroon. I'm saying it, and I will say it again.